Hi everyone. Oh, it's a bit loud, and it's my first presentation at World Football Summit, my first time here as well. So please bear with me. I'm trying to do this in the best possible way, and appreciate all of you, of course, coming here to listen to this panel, and a big announcement as well that we have as part of Sporting Global. So first of all, my name is Ole Martin. For those of you that don't know me, I'm the founder and CEO of Sporting Global. And I'm very proud today to announce our launch of the Sporting Global Academy. And the reason why it's called a new revenue source for the sports organizations is because the new Sporting Global Academy is a new initiative, sort of like an on-demand streaming tool to help students and young sport professionals get inside knowledge about short demand courses that they can order online in collaboration with real life cases from sports organizations. But that's not the main thing. We're going to talk about a new revenue source for sports organizations, and I'm very proud to have with me Carlos Cantó and Mario Fernández as well. And I'll let Carlos do like a quick introduction, and Mario as well, before we jump into each topic.
You want me to start?
Yes, sure.
Okay, thanks everyone for coming to this panel. My name is Mario Fernández. I'm the CEO of Tux Gaming, which is an esports club specialized in video games that imitate the real sports, such as FIFA or NBA 2K. We are also a club that is jumping to the real world of sports, football basically, but maybe other sports in the future, and I'm very pleased to be here with such an amazing people sharing this panel.
Thanks for the invitation, Ole Martin. I used to work at IMG for 10 years as Vice President of the Consulting Division. Then I moved to Lagardère Sports, now back to Sport 5. I have my own boutique consulting firm specialized in the sport and entertainment industry. And then I'm a member of the board of Deportivo de A Coruña. Maybe some of you are coming from Galicia, or the north of Galicia at least. I'm a member of the board of the Spanish Marketing Association. I'm the person in charge of everything related to sports. I'm a member of the advisory boards of several startups, among them Sportin Global, and thanks for your trust, Ole Martin. And then also I'm a sport business and a sponsorship professor at ESADE, IE, Instituto Empresa, FIFA, La Liga Business School, etc. And it's a great pleasure to be with you, also with Mario, obviously.
Awesome. Well, it's a great panel we have here with us today, representing, I would say, Carlos with the recruitment business side of things, and Mario, from a content community, esports angle. And I think it's a very important element of what we want to talk about today, and essentially how to provide a new revenue source for sports organizations. And with the pandemic and things coming up, it's always important to be adjustable, flexible, and always looking for ways of how we can improve the sport industry. And I wanted to begin talking a little bit about the sponsorship angle in itself, and a little bit about what are some new opportunities, sponsorship opportunities, or categories that you both are seeing in the sport industry that have been coming up. And I'll start with you, Carlos. Touch a little bit upon that.
Thank you. As you know, sponsorship is growing and growing, but the pandemic, in a global basis, it used to generate before pandemic 69 billion USD, 75% of them coming from the sports industry. Sponsorship is growing because of the objective and the characteristics that differentiate themselves from other type of communication and type of promotions. Among them, obviously, advertising, publicity, and so forth and so on. If you take into consideration the 6 main revenue streams of a club, for example, a football club, you have obviously everything related to venues. Then you have everything related to media. Then, as the third revenue stream, you have everything related to commercial, including sponsorship. And then I'm going to explain a little bit more about sponsorship. The fourth could be transfers, which for selected clubs is extremely important, is pivotal. Then the fifth one are prices, and in some cases they are very relevant according to the different competition and leagues that you are competing at. And then the sixth one is obviously other. And other includes innovation, includes, for example, what you are doing or trying to launch in terms of the Sportin Global Academy, which is also a very nice and attractive and appealing way to generate, I would say, not a lot of money, not a lot of revenue for clubs, but substantial and very, very interesting. Dipping a little bit into the sponsorship arena, obviously, as you know, sponsorship goes far beyond visibility of their brands. Actually, you can sponsor a selected or specific property with no visibility at all. The Olympic Games is a clear example, Masters of Augusta, etc., etc. And sponsorship is related to the generation of revenue for the brand, is about content, is about experiences, and more is about the creation and development of projects. Right. A lot of them projects related to the SGD, the sustainability SDG, the sustainability development goals in terms of environmental as well as social projects. Hand in hand, the brand and the property. And I think this is one of the main aspects to highlight here. Yep. As one of the main revenue streams for a club.
Absolutely, and I think you very well touched upon the importance of innovation and technology, right? And utilizing that for looking not only on the current sponsorship opportunities that are in there, but also for new angles, new categories perhaps as well, looking perhaps into content and recruitment. And I wanted to, esports obviously has been growing a lot, and I want you, Mario, as well to talk a bit about what kind of sponsorship opportunities you've been seeing in that market, and perhaps a little bit how that has been differentiated from the traditional football clubs and the football industry, and perhaps also we will go a little bit into how the football industry can learn from esports in several factors as well.
Mm-hmm. So for me, the let's say traditional sponsorship is, of course, changing. It's not like, at least in esports, like anymore, like the brand puts the logo in your shirt and that's it for the rest of the year. So you have to make an impact. You have to be more smart when you reach a brand and coming up with ideas that seems like cool and different for them. For instance, we work with Heineken, which is one of our sponsors. So they are not in our t-shirts or anything, but we do create a special program, live program, which is related with the Champions League because, of course, the relation with real football, and that's all we do for them. But it's cool and it's different, right? It's a program for them, and that's it. And so now you have to be like more smart, unless, of course, you are a super big club that brands are coming to you, and have a bigger and special ideas. Sustainability is of course one of the most requested these days as well. But yeah, that's.
But even if you are a super club, for example, you need to provide added value to the sponsor.
Of course.
Otherwise, they can choose other clubs or other leagues, other competitions, other events at the end of the day. And I fully agree with you, Mario, that visibility of the brand, this is something that it is taken for granted. And sometimes it is not at all the most important thing, at all. I'm not saying that always. But in some cases, it is not at all the main thing to provide to the brands.
Right, and I think it's important in the sponsorship category that we're talking about now that we touch upon three specific areas: community, content, and recruitment. And I figured, Mario, since you're already on a good way here, and talk a bit about, why community and content, I guess, is a big factor as well in the sponsorship space, and why this is an indicator for brands and organizations to sponsors based on content, community, the importance of fans, supporters, especially related to esports.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so content is super important because it's basically offering new windows to the brand for their exposure or maybe for these special ideas to grow. And of course you have to have numbers. That's important. You can just go there and create dozens of videos with 1,000 views, which is not too much. But yeah, content is key nowadays. It's another way to connect with your audience, with your fan base, and of course for the brands it's another way to connect with possible consumers, right? So.
And Carlos, I mean, like, you have experience on the recruitment side of things, and perhaps maybe not from a sponsorship angle. And I wanted you to kind of ask a little bit about perhaps looking into recruitment as a sponsorship angle and how that is can play in a little bit in terms of the organization, because obviously football clubs, sports organizations need to keep evolve and hire the best people, and recruitment is a big part of that. And where do you think kind of that comes in, or what kind of opportunities do you see as a recruitment to be a sponsorship opportunity?
Yeah, I mean, the recruitment category is also quite active when it comes to sponsorship, and especially sponsoring not only clubs, but also leagues and competition.
Right.
We can mention, for example, Adeco, for many years, has been attached and associated with basketball, at least here in Spain, also in the Davis Cup, for example.
Yep.
We can mention Hey in the Netherlands, for example. We can mention we are assisting Basket Girona. By the way, today is the first match of Liga Endesa, Basket Girona against Real Madrid, okay? 9 p.m. at Movistar Plus. So one of the sponsors is Eurofilms, which is a sort of ETT, okay?
Right.
So they are quite active. You have mentioned before something very, very relevant, which is community. At the end of the day, as a sport industry is moving from the sport itself to the sportainment, which is sport plus entertainment, also the fans are, moving from being only avid fan, which means the ones that are being mainly focused and interested in what's happening on the court, on the pitch, etc., moving to a kind of avid plus casual fan. The casual fan is the one that also has other type of interest, but sport is among them. Generally speaking, globally, around 20-25% of fans in the world are considered avid fan, and casual fan is around 50-55%. So if we combine both, we have a massive 75-80% of the population fan base. Okay? And here, the most important thing is not only what's happening on the pitch, on the court, on the track, but in terms of the community. To feel, to consider that you belong to something else, that you belong along with your peers to a club, to an event, to a competition, to a league, to a esports club in this case, or entity. And this goes far beyond if the goal is in or is out, okay? Because it will remain in your heart, but also in your brain, and also obviously in your pocket.
Yeah, completely agree. And I think one of the biggest challenges that clubs have in the future is to move away from the traditional sponsor and start to engaging with their communities and monetizing their communities as well. That's, I think, the key and the most interesting stuff at least for esports club. I know, traditional clubs have merchandise, have ticket for the stadiums, but in esports there are other ways as well to monetize your audiences, which are sometimes far bigger than in traditional sports, because our audiences are not local, are global, because we can reach all parts of the world. So that's the next big thing for me.
Absolutely. And it is a very exciting factor to look into how the sponsorship landscape is changing a little bit, and the sportainment landscape is changing a little bit based on the current demands. And I know the pandemic had a big impact on it as well in terms of rethinking, revamping, looking at new ways of engaging with probably more and more a digital community, building that digital community, which I think traditional sports and football clubs had to look into very rapidly, more than ever because of the pandemic. And I wanted to kind of move on a little bit into the recruitment side of things. And
Sorry to jump into digital community, yes. But at the end of the day, we are real, unless you are an avatar. Okay? So we are talking about digital plus physical at the same time. I do not believe really in terms of digital thing. We are real, isn't it? But we also interact in a digital world. But we are real, so it's a kind of physical thing at the end of the day.
Yeah.
It's the combination of, even in esports, one of the main asset to generate revenue are physical events, isn't it? Yes.
One of them.
Especially for the sponsors as well. It's one of them. I'm not saying it's the only one at all, but it's a combination of physical things as well as digital. Yeah.
Sure. Yeah, it's another way of having revenue for the club.
Absolutely.
But of course, we live in a digital world. We're born, esports were born in a digital world, so the digital part is very important for us.
Yeah, absolutely.
And I would say that physical events for esports, like a VIP experiences, or you go to a final, engage with the players, or you go to their offices, engage with the players, so it's kind of like VIP. But digital is still very, very important for esports.
anything more to add on? All right. I had to ask. So going a little bit into the recruitment side of things, and I wanted to first and foremost talk a bit about the challenges that are in recruitment in today's market, both when it comes to you guys at esports as well, recruiting for your organizations and teams, and a little bit about from your experience, Carlos, working with a lot of different big organizations, advising a lot of startups and events as well, like World Football Summit. What are some challenges that you see in today's market?
I think that the challenges are various. I would like to start by remembering a research, a survey that we helped the GZIC, the Global Sports Innovation Center, powered by Microsoft, to put together 2 years back, in terms of the new skills and competences for the sports industry from a digital transformation perspective. And at the end of the day, we undertook a very complete and global survey with experts and so forth and so on. The conclusion were the following: that the main professional competences that the sports industry is looking for and they need are, first of all, soft skills. Soft skills means communication, leadership, empathy, teamwork, etc., etc. Second is a knowledge about the sports industry. Third, about how to manage and run projects from A to Z, from a timing perspective, from a budgeting perspective, from facing perspective, planning, execution, etc. And the fourth one were everything related to technical topics or issues in terms of digital thing. So first of all, recruitment, yes, but what to recruit? Mm-hmm. People that have excelling soft skills competences. That's the most important thing. And then again, sport, industry knowledge, as well as how to run projects.
Right.
And then when we ask the experts in terms of what kind of information sources are you using, or are they using, actually the first one was word of mouth, obviously, and networking is very, very important. So communities such as Sportin Global is absolutely critical also in all this scene and framework. The second one was LinkedIn. To be honest with you, I'm sorry, but this is the reality. I'm pretty much sure that all of you, if not, yes, so the majority of you, if not all, you have your own LinkedIn profile, updated, etc., and being proactively active there. And then specialized sites on the sports industry recruitment sector. And this is very, very important because there are, some headhunters also or other type of agencies in these regards, and some of them, one of them is yours, and providing good services to the talent.
Absolutely. And Mario, I mean, like Carlos obviously mentioned a little about that specific industry knowledge, right? And the esport obviously is a very fast-growing industry, but still in the sport community, it's still a little bit unclear of like what role it has. And I guess how has that impacted your recruitment landscape? And I guess the search for finding good qualified talents that doesn't only have the soft skills, but also comply with the industry knowledge and the know-how.
Yeah, I think Carlos was very accurate. We also use networking, LinkedIn, and I would add social networks, because for me, as an employer, it's very interesting to check their social networks, because they can send you like a curriculum vitae and it looks good, but then you go to their social networks and it's a crazy man. I don't want this guy in my team. So, and the last one I wanted to add, it's kind of like a joke, but if he's fan of our club, that gives him like lots of points, of course.
Right, and I guess that brings a little bit back that community aspect, right, of it as well, and why this is a critical part of the esport industry. And I guess that also transition into football clubs too. I think we all have our favorite teams and perhaps dreams of what club we want to work for perhaps one day. I even had the same dream before I started Sportin Global. but talk a little about like perhaps, I guess, in an esport organization, why that kind of relationship to the team, the players, the influencers that are there, is a big part of your recruitment process.
Well, they're not part of the recruiting process. Our social networks, like club social networks and channels, they are. But it's really important for someone that is applying for a job for us to know our context, all our influencers, all our players, to be a fan of the club, of course. That's something that gives him like lots of points, as I said. And of course that he's a native, a digital native, in terms of using new channels, new social networks, creating content. That's a basic in an esports club. Yeah. And nowadays, I would say, we all use Twitter, social networks, TikTok, and everything. And the new generations know how to use these things like far better than we are. So I always say that we need young people in our club.
Yeah. That really jump into the whole new ways of finding talent, right? I think traditional sports and football clubs too, it's like Carlos mentioned in the research too, it's been a very word of mouth connections kind of element, which is obviously an important part, but it also creates a challenge, right, for the upcoming young professionals that are wanting in the industry, maybe doesn't have that network, and where do you both see kind of new ways, new tools, new technology coming into the play of not only feeding the organizations, but helping them also find those opportunities and ensuring, I guess in a sense, that the organizations are, at the end of the day, recruiting the best talented people for their organization.
As I said, social networks are great for hiring people and to check how they really are. We had a case in our club that was a 60-year-old guy that were you always like analyzing our esports matches, FIFA matches, like sending us like these super complex analytics of, hey, he did wrong this way, he did wrong that way. Well, that guy became a coach of our club, and he's now hired by an English club this year. So I really like those stories where someone really passionate comes to our club and grows. And so that's thanks to the social networks and the new ways to connect with people.
Since 2014, we are advising the Spanish Basketball Federation, which is top 2 in the world, just right after the United States of America in everything, including on the court. But we help them to create a community of supporters and followers of basketball, which is called Programa de Voluntarios FEB CaixaBank, volunteer program FEB CaixaBank. Now it's more than 22,000 people that are actively involved in this community, and we do a lot of on social media, but we do a lot of volunteer programs and activities and so forth. And we created 4 years ago a sub-project within this program about employability. So we, the Federation, provides the opportunity only to the members of the community to apply to submit their candidacy to become an intern at the Federation. And it's super successful. The sponsor is super happy because it's linked to everything related to social sustainability and employability, etc. And even more, some of the members of the committee that are selected to be part of this program, then afterwards, if they provide good performance at the job, obviously they become full employees of the Federation, which is another way to link community as well as recruitment.
Right.
Yeah. Same for us as well. We are always looking and searching for in social networks for interesting people. So when we have like a necessity of a role, we know where to find it. And we had like success cases of hiring people from community that became great members of our club, or not only like super unknown people, even creators or even players as well. That's the new world, I guess.
Yeah, and I think it goes back a little bit to some of the advice that we like to give at Sportin Global too for the students and young professionals in terms of course, exploring your opportunities in the market, but looking for organizations and organizations that fits with your values, your needs, essentially what you're looking for and what's important for you. Because if you find organizations that relate to what you're passionate about, not necessarily you're a fan of this team, but you support essentially their values and what they believe in, it's much more higher chance of succeeding in your career path because it aligns with what you believe in, your values. And I always use an example of two Norwegian clubs, and I'm not going to mention any names because it's not the right thing to do, but they have two very different philosophies in terms of how they lead and run the organization. And I think it's important is a very kind of on each side of the scale. And I think it's important for as students and young professionals to think about where do I fit on this scale and what organizations work in that fashion that aligns me with my values, my personality, and hence seek those career opportunities in these organizations along the way.
Obviously, the corporate culture is extremely important. I mean, I can become and can be a great job in one organization, but maybe not in other, because it doesn't match with my, I would say, not values, but attributes and skills. And the corporate culture is absolutely critical. I'm not saying there are good or bad companies. There are companies with different corporate culture. So you need to know as an employee which corporate culture matches better, fits better with you.
Right.
And that's critical.
And
that's why it's so important to get to know what's the corporate culture of every single club or league or competition, event, or whoever.
Yeah, and it attracts talent, definitely, if you have this like super clear in your company culture. And yeah, It's basically actually when people sign for Dux, there's one page that it's values and beliefs. And they have to sign it as well, because for us it's super, super important. And it affects everything in the club, which the brands we associate with, or even the content we create. We're like a, let's say, serious club, so we don't dance in TikTok because of this, which is weird. But yeah, it's key. For me, it's one of the most important things.
And I think, the sport industry is obviously impacted a lot by, especially when it comes to recruitment, the importance of how it impacts the bottom line, right? At the end of the day, it's dollars, numbers, cents, the importance of, okay, what kind of value do they bring? Is the staff that are coming in here, growing our business in the right direction? And talk a little bit about how, I guess in a sense, the good hires and the bad hires actually impacts the bottom line somehow, and why utilizing this time in the recruitment process of not only, of course, for the students who are looking for there, but the organizations as well, spending the time on looking for the right candidate and spending the time to find the right fit. And it's very easy sometimes to of course go the, I guess, traditional word of mouth connection route, which of course in many cases is very successful too, but can also miss out on some really great talent out there.
Talent is critical. I mean, companies are composed by people, period. Even if you have the most brilliant product or service, you need people, right? Even if you want, talking about innovation. Innovation is nothing else that you have an idea and you are able to implement it, right? Otherwise, you are not innovating. Ideas are not innovative. Implementation of ideas, this is what innovation is about. And in order to implement these ideas, which means innovate, you need processes, you need resources, among them time, and you need people. People are the ones who enable you to implement this idea, so you to innovate. So people is the main factor of companies, and you need to invest in having the best possible talent in your organization.
Nothing to add on that.
No, I mean, Carlos knows the ways. I want to move on a little bit into sort of like, I guess, content side of things, and a little bit about utilizing content of essentially finding new ways of creating revenue, for clubs and esports organizations too, and especially through digital content. And I mean, there's no better person, I guess, to ask about this than you, Mario, whereas you talked about as well, that the physical events is sort of like your VIP experience, while the digital side of it is your mass, essentially.
It's the daily basis of our club. I know that some years ago, esports clubs were yeah, I know that. Esports clubs were something like content creation companies, because they created content not only about the matches or the competition, but you can see the players doing like all kinds of stuff, right? So having a strong content strategies for your club is definitely the best way to attract new sponsors and new ways of revenue, and it's going to become more and more important in the following years with when the metaverse is coming, and with the blockchain things, those things are going to change. Definitely, they are going to be game changers for the industry.
But also a little bit around, I guess, online courses, ways of essentially selling the knowledge that you have, in a sense, to the community, and perhaps having a better chance. And you see this already a lot in the football industry, from Barcelona, Real Madrid, you have Manchester City as well, establishing these kind of programs now where they're selling essentially mini courses to provide more insights to the community. And where do you kind of see like the knowledge, I guess, and I guess it goes back to what Carlos was talking about in the recruitment side too, where one of the key elements you needed is industry knowledge, right? And why is this kind of inside information such a critical factor for a successful hire and a successful candidate?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I would differentiate the different type of skills. Soft skills, I would say that online is just a complement, it's a pill, okay? But I would never take only soft skill courses online, of course, honestly. I prefer one-to-one, I mean, in a class, in present, in person, much richful, obviously. When it comes to the sports industry knowledge, obviously you have different media and sources of information, and obviously, pills about specific knowledge, specific topics of a selected club or league, etc., can help you in terms of mini case studies. That's very useful and can be done online. Okay? But then, in terms of general business skills, again, I think that the online site is only a kind of pill, a complement to the in-person education process.
Yeah, not in our esports club. For instance, our YouTube channel is basically our players teaching people how to play FIFA better. And we just released a premium site in our website that is like those tutorials going like even more faster so they can learn even better how to play the game. And there's also this market in the game that it's kind of like, you know, like with coins and prices and things coming out. And we have analysts for those, which means that people can, you know, not spend so much in the game or anymore. So for an esports player or for a guy that wants to become an esports player, it's everything about the internet. It's no matter if you have the players side by side teaching you how to play FIFA, you can have it online as well. But of course, there are other things that need like real stuff, like academies, football academies.
If you are a e-sport player,
yeah,
you need to practice online, obviously. Yeah, but
if
you are a footballer, you need to play on the pitch.
Yeah,
right?
of course. But we are also testing in our football academies, real football academies, how to implement all these digital sites.
It helps.
Yeah,
definitely helps.
Yeah, and it's another way of revenue as well.
Yeah, absolutely.
And to close up the panel here, I just have one final question to both of you, and that's, what is one area that could potentially be a new sponsorship opportunity for sports organizations in the next coming years?
I would say from the property perspective, to really understand that the majority of brands are not only interested in branding. They are interested in revenue generation, first of all. They are interested in their own brand reputation, which means to be aligned and to work along with the property in creating and developing specific projects, mostly related to sustainability, both social and environmental, but always taking into account that the third leg of sustainability is economic sustainability. We have three types of sustainability: economic, environmental, and social. And you need a balance. 100%.
Again, nothing to add on top of that. No, I mean, yeah. For us, I think the new technologies as well is going to bring new stuff and new ways of become more interesting for brands. You know, there's new spaces like, for me, digital spaces like virtual stadiums, even video games that you are included in the game, and these kind of things that are relevant for some brands. For instance, our our kit, the esports kit, it's inside the game in FIFA. So brands are interested in becoming a sponsor only for the FIFA game because that's going to be played by millions and millions of people. So new technology is another thing that I will add to the wise men of
Great.
course.
Also, as you guys see, there's a lot of new opportunities to create revenue for sports organizations, and one of those is, of course, as well, the Sportin Global Academy. So we're happy to announce that, and it's a great way to essentially offer a recruitment sponsor for sports organizations, where it's a split revenue model in order to create valuable inside short courses to sell to the community, to supporters, to fans, to not only, of course, know more about what's happening, about openness and transparency, about the club, about the organization, but also be one step closer into getting a job in that organization. So once again, thanks to all of you for taking the time, for listening here. Super glad to be sitting here with Carlos and Mario. It's been a pleasure having both of you here. And one last thing, as always, vi snakkes, which means see you later in Norwegian.
Thank you.